Hey everyone, Mr. Newman here, and today we're going to learn a short video about, actually a review video on how to solve these kinds of equations. So I'm just going to do number 1, number 3, number 5, and number 9, and the rest of these problems will be classwork for us to finish in class. So let's get started. For number 1, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to combine like terms, see the negative 4x and the minus 6x or the negative 6x. We got to combine those. That becomes negative 10x. And now we need to get x all by itself. Now that we've combined all the like terms, so we divide by negative 10. The reason I'm dividing by negative 10 is because negative 10 is being multiplied to x. And you have to undo multiplication, you do division. So negative 20 divided by negative 10 is 2. And that is our answer. For number 3, first thing we need to do is we need to get all the x's to one side. Now I'm just going to write that over here so I have a little more space. Hopefully you can write smaller or you can write it over like I did. In order to do this, get all the x's to one side, I'm going to subtract 7x from both sides. You could subtract 8x from both sides and you could also get the answer that way. I just know if I subtracted 8x, I would end up with a negative x, and that would be one more step I'd have to do down the road. So I subtracted by 7x instead, the smaller of the two x's, and that gets me a positive x. So x minus 2 equals negative 9. Now we add 2 to both sides, trying to get x by itself, and x equals negative 7. For number 5, I'm going to start off trying to do the same thing. I'm going to try to get all the variables to one side. So I see 4m on both sides, so I subtract 4m from both sides, but something funny happens here. When I do that, I get negative 4 equals 0. Notice how there are no more variables, and negative 4 is not equal to 0. Nope. So because that is not true, and I know I didn't mess up on any math before that point, I know that there is no solution. In other words, there's no number you can plug in for m that makes that equation true. So we need to write the words, no solution. And that is our answer in that situation. For number 9, we have a parentheses. I'm going to again write this off to the side so I have a little more space. And you notice anytime there's a parentheses, we can distribute a number across it. But it doesn't seem like there's a number on this. If there isn't a number, that means there's a 1 right in front of the parentheses. So in this case, because it's minus or negative, that's a negative 1 that's sitting in front of the parentheses. So I'm going to just distribute the negative 1, and we get negative 1x, or negative x. And negative 1 times 4 is negative 4, or minus 4. Now I need to get x by itself, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And I have negative 4 equals negative x, or negative 1x. And I'm going to divide by negative 1 to get rid of that negative. You could also multiply by negative 1. It actually does the same thing, but what you end up with is negative 4 over negative 1, which is positive 4. So 4 equals x. So for finishing the rest of these, I want to give you some pointers or some tips. You can write these down. I wouldn't recommend writing them down right here. Well, if you feel like you could write small enough on this paper, you can write them right here on the paper or on a separate sheet. But write them down somewhere so you can use these as you're solving the rest of these problems. I might recommend this order. First, get rid of the parentheses. And the way you do that is you distribute across all the parentheses. The second thing you need to do is get all the variables to one side. Then, you need to combine like terms. And the last step you need to do is you need to get the variable by itself. Now I say this is a guide because you don't have to do all those steps every time, and you don't even have to do them in that order. As long as you follow the rules of algebra, there are often lots and lots of ways to solve each of these equations. These 4 steps are just good reminders in case you get stuck. All right, thank you very much for watching.